The Invisible Woman, otherwise known as Susan Storm, is a new hero added for Marvel Rivals Season 1. This strategist archetype can be extremely powerful if you know how to take advantage of her versatility and elusiveness. In this guide, we'll show you how to do just that for Sue Storm in Marvel Rivals. At first glance, the Invisible Woman looks like a straightforward healer. Her primary fire resembles the projectiles from Luna Snow or Dagger. However, while she is a capable team medic, she can also leverage her invisibility to attack the enemy back line. And her abilities make her more than capable of area control. She's a Swiss Army knife of a character, perfect for players that can adjust on the fly. Sue's basic attack is orb projection. These orbs fly in a straight line, damaging enemies and healing allies in their path. However, unlike some other multi-use shots, these have two wrinkles that can make or break this character. First, these blasts pierce targets. That means that you can hit multiple foes, friends, or both with a single shot. How you position yourself in choke points or relative to everybody else on the field can have a big impact on just how much health you are adding or subtracting. The other thing to account for is how the shots ricochet. Every time you fire, your blasts will fly in a straight line until they hit a wall, or the maximum range, which is about 30 meters of your shot. The projectile will then return to you, hitting any targets or healing them on the way back. Lining up so that there is a wall directly behind your enemy is a great way to increase the speed you dish out damage. These shots ricochet off the ground as well, so you can fire from elevation if there aren't any solid objects to take advantage of. Sue Storm has a deep bag of abilities. Naturally, she can turn invisible. When cloaked, she cannot be seen by the other team at all, and she will slowly regenerate health. She's not invincible in this state, however. Any attacks that would hit her will still do damage, and she will reappear to the other team. She's still a solid object too, so be careful not to give away your presence by letting enemies run right into you. There are two ways she will typically turn invisible. Her covert advance passive will activate after a few seconds outside of combat, turning her invisible and activating her healing over time. When things are more hot and heavy, she can activate Veiled Step, which functions as a double jump that immediately cloaks her. This has a 6-second cooldown timer, and is best saved for when you need to make an escape, particularly when the other team starts diving for your healers. Psionic vortex is a ball of energy that Invisible Woman throws that erupts into a spherical area of effect that draws enemies towards the middle and causes damage over time. While it won't eliminate anyone with full health, it's a powerful tool for area control and can be really effective if the other team groups closely together. The 12-second cooldown is on the long side, so it's best to be selective with the timing of this attack, like when there is a clear choke point to control, or you catch a high priority target like an enemy healer unaware. It's also a fantastic counter to the Punisher when he sets up his turret. Just drop the vortex on him and let it go to work while you are safely behind cover. The Invisible Woman can make like a Jedi and force push or pull enemies using her Force Physics ability. This does solid damage and has a lot of uses. It's great at keeping an aggressive enemy out of your face, particularly when you're on healing duty. It's also really handy for yoinking someone into the middle of your team, allowing for your whole team to gang up on a tough tank, or expose a healer to your team's attacks. With a range of just over 25 meters, it's also effective at a surprisingly long distance. That range also means it's really handy against flyers like Iron Man or Storm. Sue Storm's primary attack is pretty slow and doesn't seek out targets, so it can be tough to hit anyone soaring over the battlefield. Reach out with Force Physics, however, give them a pull, and it can make the skies a lot more safe. She also has a related ability called Agile Strike in her melee attacks. Strike out 3 times with her melee, and on her third swing, she will launch enemies away. Combine that with a Force Physics push, and you can create a lot of space for yourself to counterattack or turn invisible and escape. Guardian Shield does exactly what it sounds like. It creates a stationary shield in front of an ally that can absorb damage to keep your friends alive. As an added perk, it allows shots from the friendly side of the shield to pass through, and even provides a small radius of healing over time. It appears with 300 health, and will last until it's broken or you recall it, after which it will need 6 seconds to recharge. Also, if enemies walk through the Guardian Shield, they'll be slowed. There are 2 important things to keep in mind with the Guardian Shield. First, you cannot cast it on yourself. If you want to take advantage of it, you need to put it on an ally first and then stand behind it. Second, you can reposition an unbroken Guardian Shield at any time. This will not refill its durability, but moving it around frequently can augment how much you heal your team as you switch it from person to person. Finally, Sue Storm's ultimate ability is the Invisible Boundary. This creates a wide area of effect with 3 key things to know. First, it provides powerful healing over time. Second, everyone on your team outside the radius is invisible to enemies on the outside. Finally, any enemies that are passed into the area of effect can see your allies, but then they're also slowed. This ability is pretty useful anywhere, but it can be especially challenging to deal with if you cast it near cover, which can cost the other team valuable seconds while they locate your allies once they enter the boundary. Or you can use the invisible field to set up area control like the Psionic vortex or Penny Parker spider mines as a fun surprise. Unsurprisingly, the team-ups for the Invisible Woman focus on the members of the Fantastic Four, starting with Mr. Fantastic, although there is a chance there will be more team-ups when the Thing and Human Torch are released. When both are on the same team, she activates Fantastiforce. This is a skill that Mr. Fantastic can activate that grants him damage resistance, and the damage he receives gets replaced with bonus health every few seconds. As we mentioned at the top, Sue Storm is extremely versatile and can fit nicely into any team composition. As a healer, you should focus on positioning behind your team. Not only will this help keep you safe, but it will lead to more opportunities where characters are lined up, allowing your shots to heal or damage multiple targets at once. Keep tossing out Guardian Shields as AoE healers, and be active about adjusting how you are lined up with the team in front of you. Keep your Veiled Step available until someone from the other team attacks your back line, and use it to make an escape so that way you can keep the health flowing. If you want to be more aggressive, consider taking a side route out of combat and flanking the enemy. As long as you aren't getting into fights along the way, you will turn invisible, giving you free access to the back line of the other team and a potential opportunity to pick off an enemy healer. The Psionic Vortex is a good starter to create confusion and draw them to a spot, and then you can use the push or pull of force physics to hit them for a chunk of damage to keep them in the vortex a bit longer. If things get dicey, remember that you can double jump to turn invisible as a get out of jail free card. Just make sure you don't attack the enemy once you're invisible, as it'll cancel the invisibility. One other area the Invisible Woman can make significant difference is against enemy snipers like Black Widow and Hawkeye. These characters often occupy elevated positions or hide behind cover that makes it hard to return fire. A quick force physics pull can be just the thing to give your team an opportunity for some payback. We have plenty of more in-depth character guides to help you master your favorite heroes in Marvel Rivals. You can find those and much more in our Marvel Rivals guide. And for everything else, stick with IGN.